Tonight's topic is second segment from our town talk that we had yesterday in terms of know your rights. We have a great panel, but I'm one of the moderators with our very own New Jersey Senator Brittany Timberlake. Give her a round of applause. Got a great panel tonight, but we want to first thank our Reverend Roselle Williams and the New Hope Baptist Church for hosting this event tonight. So I'm here to pass again my partner tonight, the moderators, our New Jersey Senator Brittany Timberlake, asked her to introduce the panel.
Good evening, everyone. I am Reverend Roselle Williams. I am the senior pastor of this New Hope Baptist Church of East Orange, New Jersey. It is our honor, privilege, and our duty to open our church up to the concerns of our community. With that being said, I want to just open with a word of prayer. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, thou who is by thy might, let us into the light. Lead us, O God, we pray. God, I ask you on today that as we come to share the information that is needed to secure the freedoms and the liberties of these your people, I pray most of all, God, that those that need to hear the information will tune in, that they will receive from those that are in community, and that they will get the information they need to maintain themselves here. Show us, oh God, how to do the work of democracy, freedom, and justice. And we pray all of these things in your name. Amen.
Thank you so much, Reverend Thursell. Yes, we are in the house of the Lord. We are in historically a church, and we know historically the church has played a great role throughout the civil rights movement and many other social justice movements. So thank you on behalf of the state of New Jersey, and of course the city and all the representatives here for opening up the church and keeping that tradition for a time such as this. And we are here to talk about Know Your Rights, and we have an amazing panel that is going to be cross-sharing information. On my way here, we did not expect to see this place packed. The reason being is that we know and we understand that when Know Your Rights programs are held, that traditionally people do not come in person or out of fear. And that's why we have live streaming occurring, as well as other cameras and recordings to get the information out. We do also have a great amount of information that we can disseminate to the public. So I'm going to start down by the mayor's end, and I'm going to actually ask for everyone to introduce themselves, because I believe that you can give the best introduction over yourself and your relation to this topic. No one can do it better than you. So, Chief Bindi.
Good evening, East Orange. Phyllis Bindi, Police Chief, City of East Orange. Honored to be here on this panel, and we are here so you know your rights. And you do have plenty of them, and we want to make sure you know them and you can exercise them properly. And just know that we are here for you in the city of East Orange. So if you see an officer, if you have a problem, please approach them. Feel free to approach any East Orange police officer and ask for this information, because we do have it readily available, and they will facilitate it to you.
Long Bogart, East Orange School District, Chief of Staff, Superintendent of Schools, so thank you, East Orange, for us to be here to share information today about knowing your rights. We just want to make sure you understand that your schools here in East Orange are a safe zone that are focused on education and the well-being of all our students.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Amy Lewis, Councilwoman Lewis, as well as Vice President for the Teamsters Union. I'm here to talk about the impact that immigration has had on labor, as well as much as I know, because you have a lot of experts up here on Know Your Rights, which will give you some information that I have with respect to unions and how the deportation has had a huge effect on unions and workers, immigrant workers. Thank you.
Turn it on.
Thank you, Pardon the technical difficulty. Good evening, East Orange. My name is Chris Cornelius. I'm councilman representing the third ward here in the city of East Orange. I'm a child of immigrants, Asian immigrants, here in the city of East Orange. And, you know, I always speak about the fact that I owe my life to the city of East Orange. You know, growing up here with the Asian culture, growing up here with the East Orange culture, I was always saying I have the best of both worlds. And it's incumbent upon me, and my legacy, and my children who are taking over the mantle after me, to know where they came from and to know the community they came from. And everyone knows East Orange sticks together. And so we must unite, we must fight, and we must organize. And so I want to say thank you to Reverend Thurcell for allowing us to be here. Thank you to Melody Scott for putting this together, and to all these amazing panelists for continuing to fight.
Good evening, East Orange. I am Dr. Carmen Morales. I represent two hats this evening. Assemblywoman for Legislative District 34, which includes East Orange, and also a Director of Curriculum Instruction for the Essex County Schools of Technology. We in the school district have dealt with several students and families who have self-deported in the last year. And through our offices in the state, as well as connecting with the Congresswoman's office, we have helped families navigate the difficult decision of having to deport themselves back to their country. Out of fear of being deported out in the street, out of fear of coming home and their children not having a parent in the household. So we have helped families navigate through that difficult decision. And tonight is such a critical conversation around how families can protect themselves, how families can get a plan together, which is what we will discuss this evening. And also, we know the fear is real, and we are here for every single one of you, and that's why this panel is so critical, and this discussion is so critical during these very challenging times. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Pierre Ayeloa. I'm an attorney, immigration attorney, and also I practice criminal law. I have my office in Orange. I consider myself as an adopted son of the city of East Orange. When I came from Haiti at age 19, I lived in East Orange through college. It's only after when I started law school I got married, and I left East Orange, but my office is in Orange, so I know this area well. And the fact that I was born in a foreign place, and it took me a few years to become a naturalized citizen of the United States. So I know both sides. I know the struggles somewhat people go through when people come to the United States. Even now, we are in a different situation where all immigrants are considered criminals, when in prior years, most governments, all the governments, for the 27 years that have been practicing criminal law and immigration laws, they targeted the so-called criminal aliens, those few non-US citizens that are criminals. But now, in practice, when they talk about criminal aliens, they really talking about everyone. Although immigration laws are civil in nature, when someone has an immigration violation, they are not considered criminal violations. Unfortunately, with this administration, the Trump administration, there is that fight they should push to help the immigrants because they might be next. Because what you can see, if you look at, I know my introduction is long. If you look at some case laws like Trump versus the United States, where President Trump has presidential immunity, he can technically kill someone, and then while he's president, he would not be amenable to court, to justice. So he's doing the same thing. We're talking about a government that violates the law first, knowing willfully they are violating the law, and they expect you to go to court, generally federal court, to show that they have violated it. This is a government that doesn't follow court orders. As you all know, this is supposedly a democracy, where there is a separation of powers, but the executive branch of the government, led by the President of the United States, has aggrandized its power, refusing to obey court orders, something that had not been done in the past. It looks like we are on the edge of white supremacy, but thanks to a lot of people, a lot of non-blacks, non-Hispanics that are fighting to go back to that equality that we were in prior to January 28th, 2025. So I'm here to talk about not my experience, but to talk about the changes in the law with regard to detention, and also how people can still protect their rights. I know a lot of people are not here from home, and they probably could profit from the conversation that we're going to have. Thank you.
And let's thank PF for that. And what we want to do is dive right into some of the questions for the panel. My first question is, many residents have received fear interaction with law enforcement or public agencies. How can we rebuild that trust?
I think that's a good one for Chief Bindi to take.
Yes.
As I stated earlier, if you are in need of any information, you need to know your rights, regardless of your citizenship or immigration status, to please approach the East Orange Police Department. They are all armed with this information. They know where to guide you. We are fully transparent when we give you this information. This information is from the Attorney General's office, so you will have the correct information on if you encounter an immigration agent or other law enforcement public in a public space. If immigration agents come to your home, if you are detained, this will guide you on what you need to do. We can always hand you this pamphlet, and we will also explain in detail the rights. There are also many government emails that you can go on, and they are in several different languages. And I believe at the end of this, then we will give them all.
Great, thank you. Councilman Anderson.
Thank you so much, Mayor. I'd like to add to that as well. It is a well-known fact that sanctuary cities, yes, I know it's a hot button item now, and it's the word has been demonized. Sanctuary cities have some of the lowest crime rates, and the reason why is thanks to, I believe it was Chairman Green at the time, City Council Chairperson, Councilwoman Lewis, and Councilman Chris James, the first ward, who spearheaded it, adopted East Orange as a sanctuary city. And so what happens is that when an immigrant or foreign person understands that they don't have a fear of being deported and or being outed, they are more likely, and there's a high propensity for them to report crimes and or to build trust with law enforcement. So that way they can report and see something, say something. The way it is now, with the fear that's running rampant in our community, if something is going on, whether they see it on the street or going on in the home, they are less likely to report it for fear of being reported. less likely to go to the hospital for maternal health, infant health, because they're going to fear that they may not return home. So the way to strengthen the bonds, again, we are a sanctuary city, policies, improve them, strengthen them, and just increase the public trust with the population. Because it is proven that there is a benefit to the overall community, there's a benefit to law enforcement, there's a benefit to healthcare when they feel safe.
Thank you, Councilman, for that.
Thank you, Councilman. I wanted to, I've heard several people speaking, you're bringing up very, great terminology that you think needs a little bit of explanation. You know, Chief Bindi mentioned the Attorney General and his guidelines. Currently here in the state of New Jersey, we have the Attorney General, Matt Platkin, who is in support of protecting immigration and in support of protecting people. The Attorney General is appointed by the Governor of the state of New Jersey. The Governor of the state of New Jersey, amongst I think maybe one or two other governors throughout the country, I'll just say one of few, because I don't know the exact number, are one of the only ones who gets to choose and appoint an Attorney General. And that makes them the most, you know, we are currently in an election. This is a thing that we're having through the government, so we're not going to be talking politics here, but I just want you to understand that when the Attorney General is appointed, the Attorney General is then acting right now and joining lawsuits with other states to continue to make sure that we can have sanctuary cities here. Not every municipality in the state of New Jersey is a sanctuary city. Chief Bindi said very specifically, you can approach the East Orange police officer if you're feeling unsafe or you need some information. We cannot say that if you're in a different municipality because they may be operating under some different ideology. But ultimately, our chief law enforcement officer for the state, the Attorney General, has the ultimate say. I did also just want to mention that you mentioned that the administration is breaking the law and not listening to courts. It's not just any law that's being broken. It's not, you know, the municipal level traffic court, okay? It is the Constitution that is being violated as we sit here. We have constitutional rights. And that is what we are trying to protect, but unfortunately, those rights are, right now, in reality, being ignored. So I wanted to provide a little bit of color and kind of start also from the top about, you know, what to do if ICE is to approach you. There was also another comment made about immigrants, but it could actually happen to anyone, and it has. We saw that with them arresting a military veteran in the middle of a raid. They detained him, and he was able to prove his citizenship by the grace of God. So we think about where we've been in history and how different regimes come into power, and it starts with the disappearing of people. We are here now, and that is our reality. It's easy to read history and to judge those ancestors of the past and say, what did they do? And now we are the they. We have to do something that is right. So I just wanted to provide that context and clarity about how serious of an issue that this really is, and the magnitude of the laws that are being broken, and also the importance of having a governor who is going to select an Attorney General who will walk in lockstep with the Constitution and stand up and join the legislation to fight against it. Mayor, what's the next question?
So it's not a question, but it brings me to, when you talk about our immigrants being detained, I know that we have a package here. I'm gonna ask Assemblywoman Carmen Morales to really just explain some of the items that we're asking some of our immigrants to keep on them when they are detained, so that way that they know their rights. So I know in the pamphlet that we have, Assemblywoman, can you explain some of the materials that they should have on them when they are detained, so we know what's going on?
Well, the first thing I think that people should know is that people have the right to remain silent. You don't have to answer questions. You can ask for an attorney. And so these are resources that we're gonna be given this evening, are access to free and low-cost attorneys that can help those have been detained. The packet that we have this evening is actually a family planning packet
Yes,
that you can collect and gather information that is important and critical in case one of the head of the household in the family is detained. Another family member can have all access to the information that they need. So that's gonna be part of the packet. The other thing that, we talk about, if an ICE agent comes to the home, you do not have to open that door. They have to have a search warrant and a warrant signed by a judge. And we have a sample of what that warrant looks like. It's in the packet as well. And you can ask them to slide it under the door. You do not have to open that door. Okay, that's how you're gonna protect yourself. If you are detained in the streets, again, we spoke about it yesterday. Unfortunately, they are detaining American citizens, and it is happening. And what we spoke about yesterday is that there are people, we always carry our phones around. These phones are attached to our hips. If you see someone being detained, take that phone out and start recording the incident. Ask the person being detained what their name is. Give you a phone number that they can call someone immediately so that they can contact a family member, loved one, and let them know that you were detained or your loved one was detained. Those are important, critical aspects of when you see something, say something, because again, a lot of these people are disappearing and we don't know where they're taking them. But you just have a recording of who the person is, what they look like, their name, a phone number, and you can record the vehicle. The vehicle and also the license plate number. That information is critical to identify, number one, because these are masked agents, they're not gonna show their face. A lot of times they are not saying who they are, and they're not showing a warrant. So if we have it recorded, we can get that to an attorney, we can get that to a family member, and they can be found. So again, these are things that the public, bystanders can do to help out, along with the person who is being detained, what their rights are.
thank you for that, Senator Martin. But I'm gonna ask you also to very quickly translate that into Spanish, also for those who are out there watching us live, very quickly. I'm sorry, I know she's drinking water.
No, just give her a moment, she'll translate it.
We'll come back. So
She'll translate
I do wanna kind of go over to our school, right? I know that when this whole immigration started and the president announced that, they're gonna be able to come into the schools, I know immediately our school superintendent, Dr. Chris Irvin, along with the city, I know the chief of staff is here, Dewan, y'all put in place, especially for our young kids and families within the school district. Let's talk about some of the things that Matt put in place for our local residents.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So what we put in place for our local residents, as I said before when I introduced myself, we're creating an environment to where it's a safe zone. It's focused on education, it's focused on student well-being. We're providing resources to our families so that way they know their rights. One of the biggest things we lost is the fact that East Orange children, regardless of their immigration status, they have a right to free and safe public education. We make sure we safeguard that. We put in place translation services. We put in place counselors and social workers and psychologists who can prepare our students if they are impacted by this. We put in place partnerships with various organizations that assist with mental health, housing, food assistance. We provide compassion, confidentiality, and care. We make sure that our staff are aware of their rights as families and our rights as staff. Once again, many attempts to impose on those rights. We also, as I said before, continue our partnership with the city, continue partnerships with Rutgers Law, with Essex County Community College, and a number of other agencies to provide our families with free free legal services and advice, as well as citizenship guidance. We set and create an environment to any of our families can ask for assistance. We provide that assistance in multiple languages, and we provide community-based support also. You know, one of the biggest things we want to put out as a message from the school system is we want you to continue to have bold and intending, because your school are a safe haven for your children and for your families.
Thank you very much. We do have questions from the audience. Are effects started to change? I'm going to say, they say illegal immigrations are residing outside of the protection of state and federal law. Hence, U.S. Constitution's, illegal immigrations are residing outside of the protection of
Sounds like a statement,
the
maybe.
state, right?
I
That's
think it's
what,
probably just a
yes,
statement, right?
yes.
You know, Dewan, you brought up something very interesting, and thank you. I'm so proud that the East Orange School District this is the approach that East Orange is taking. I wanted to ask, I have heard that some school districts are offering Zoom too, if that is a thing, because I heard from some of the teachers throughout the state that when these raids begin to occur, they were able to gather a pretty good assessment of who may have not have been documented in their class when the children stopped attending out of fear of their parents holding them home. Can you talk a little bit about what creative solutions other school districts could do?
That's a great question. So what we've done is, with those family advocates and with those parent liaisons, we've created some of those safe networks and situations to where, you know, there are options to work with the school district virtually. And those are on a case-by-case basis, based on the information that is brought to us from the home, from the parents, from the families. But we do try to work with them at every level that is possible, based on educational findings and other support services. But we have a family success center that will provide information on those particular services. And I'll make sure that information is passed out for the closeout today. The telephone number and the email address, as well as I impose and I really emboss this. If any families have questions, our central office is located at 199 4th Avenue. If you don't know that in East Orange, please come down, speak to us. Our family success center is there. We can assist you, and we will work with you.
Thank you, Devon.
Thank you so much, Juan. I just received a question from the audience. Is the state legislature working on bills requiring mask agents to remove their masks? Yes. The state legislature, that's you, hey, shout out. The state legislature is working on these things. However, we have to understand that what we're talking about is the federal government. Constitutionally, we have an attorney who's sitting right next to me, can fact check me if I get off the rails a little, but constitutionally, there are a separation of powers. And in that separation of powers, states have a great degree of autonomy. And that is the reason why our states have our own constitution, and that we can even have laws. If you think about what's happening with a woman's right to choose throughout the country and some of the issues that women are running into, are not necessarily running into those issues here in New Jersey, because we were able to codify a woman's right to choose here in New Jersey. So we do have this bit of insulation. However, just as the federal government is at this point in time ignoring the Supreme Court, well, the Supreme Court, when they ruled not in their favor, I should say that, or just not really working in the guardrails of the Constitution, we are talking amongst ourselves, and this has been a great conversation with the legislatures to require them to show their face. If you're not doing anything wrong, you show your face. If you're making an illegal arrest, show your face. We don't see our East Orange police walking around with masks on. We need to see people's face. If you are so ashamed in what you're doing that you must cover your face, then you ought not to be doing the job at all. Which, I also received a question regarding speed bumps. I would encourage you to go to the city council meeting, because that will not be discussed tonight. This is all about know your rights. You can't make this up. This is all about know
That was
your
my
rights.
question.
Oh, it's you?
Yeah,
Yes,
I didn't
ma'am.
realize
So we're
that
gonna
this
make
was
sure we get
before
to
that.
you. We're gonna make sure we get to you at the city
Okay.
council meeting or after this, because we just wanna focus right now on rights. It's a.
I didn't understand that. That wasn't in the flyer.
Okay,
Oh,
yes,
so-
okay. Thank you, that's a very good point.
Right.
The state of New Jersey is doing that. I did want to talk and ask a question to the attorney. One of the things that we're disseminating as information today is that you do not have to let ICE in without a warrant, as the Assemblywoman stated already, right? ICE must follow legal procedures. You have the right to remain silent and request a lawyer. So we know that there's something in this country called the Miranda rights that have to be read. And in the Miranda rights, they tell you that you have the right to remain silent. Don't feel like you need to talk your way out of the situation or anything. Just shut it down, right? And ask for a lawyer. And I would advise that families who are concerned about being raided should already be seeking legal counsel to see who the lawyer would be if, God forbid, you are caught up in a raid. But what I wanted to say is that there's something in here where it says you're not required to give identification or immigration papers, and that you should not sign anything without legal advice. Can you speak to those things as an attorney for us?
Yes, thank you. Unfortunately, this is problematical in the sense that the protocol, there's a difference between laws, constitutional laws, state laws, and as you all know, immigration fall under federal laws. But the most important thing that this administration has been validating is the fact that the 14th Amendment of the Constitution says clearly that any person in the United States should be protected equally under the law. So, and also there have been case laws from the U.S. Supreme Court itself that says that the Fifth Amendment and the 14th Amendment are applicable to the immigrants, meaning all the protections that a citizen have, the immigrants should have them. You know, there are somewhat lesser rights. For instance, if you are being detained by immigration, you don't have the right to an attorney, although there are places that can represent you free of charge with lesser charges. Yes, if you start prior to this year, I would say that it may not have any practical consequence. For instance, if you start they asking for identification, you don't provide the identification, you're not obligated to. The theory is that they have to prove that you're not a citizen, one, and then two, that you are deportable in order to arrest you. But under recent decisions, they will take you, they will apprehend you. Unfortunately, what's been happening lately is that the courts have colluded with the executive branch of the government. There have been a litany of recent decisions, that make people ineligible for bond. But even before I get to that, the panel was talking about if somebody knocks on your door. Yes, if your door is being knocked upon, even if there is a warrant, you can ignore the warrant. I've been practicing immigration laws for 27 years. An immigration warrant is a civil warrant, it's an administrative warrant, and not a judicial warrant. During those 27 years, I've never seen a warrant, an immigration warrant, signed by an immigration judge. In the context of criminal laws, before a warrant is issued, an officer has to draft an affidavit, detail the probability of a crime, and then present it to a judge for a judge to sign. In immigration, what they do is that the ICE officer just signs a form. It's an administrative warrant. So basically, if you do not open your door, nothing would happen to you. Technically, they should not break your door. And of course, once you get outside the door, if there's a warrant, you should submit yourself to get arrested, but you don't have to open the door. Nobody could break your door unless if they want to violate the law. Unless if they're there because you are a suspected criminal alien or an alien that has committed a crime in the past. So these are the difficulties. I believe what people should do. There are also a few remedies that you have access to. For instance, I've seen situations where an ICE officer stops a car, which should not be done. They stop a car, only the local police should do that. They've been doing that lately. That's a violation of the law. Because under criminal law, you have to have, as they call it, an articulable suspicion, which is the lowest standard, or probable cause in order to stop a car. Unless if the immigration officer has a warrant, they should not stop your car. But they've been detaining people recklessly, which is a violation. Your remedy, unfortunately, is not immigration court. I think a lot of people have that misunderstanding. Immigration court is an administrative court as opposed to a federal court. If your immigration rights are violated, if your arrest is unlawful, when you present yourself before an immigration judge, you cannot really argue of the unlawfulness of your detention. Fortunately, that because you only go to the federal court in order to seek what they call a writ of habeas corpus, in order for your body to be released to show that your arrest is unconstitutional, because under the 14th and 5th Amendment, immigrants as well are protected under the law. When there is a violation, you have a remedy. But unfortunately, the remedy is in federal court. The reason why I say unfortunately, it takes more money to get to federal court. But there are a lot of organizations that represent people who are free of charge or with lesser charges. You have to inform yourself. Even some private authorities will tell you the truth because they will charge. Like myself, I probably will charge significant amount, but I would tell people where to go in order to have their rights protected. We may come to the point where we have to talk about certain other remedies. The remedies are going to federal court is when your right is violated. But there are some situations where undocumented people can get their papers. For instance, people who have been here for at least 10 years and do not have a criminal record and have children who are born in this country and they are under 21, they can file what they call for cancellation of removal. Removal is another word for deportation. Technically, they could ask a judge to cancel the deportation if they can show they've been here physically for 10 years, they have filed their taxes, they have not violated the laws, and they have children that are U.S. citizen or permanent resident, and they can show sort of closeness to the community. The problem that we have now, the biggest problem, is that when someone is detained now, under one decision of March 2005, it's called a matter of Q Li. Q Li is a Chinese person, Q Li Li, where the person was denied bond. Immigration, we don't talk about bail, we talk about bond, meaning the money that you may have to pay to get released. And then under two recent decisions in September, all those people that were eligible for bond, people who were released at the border, or people who came here undocumented, under those decisions, under the Board of Immigration Appeals decision, the Board of Immigration Appeals is the highest administrative body. It's the equivalent of the appellate court in immigration. Those people are not eligible for bond, unfortunately, under this administration. And this is a departure from many decades of precedents where people who've been here for many years, they can show connection to the community, they can show they've been a good person, even if they don't have papers, they can show that they buy property. That would allow them to get bond, pay money to get out. But unfortunately, they cannot. One of the things that they have to do, granted that they're not going to be released, but if they're going to be detained, you have to make sure for someone who's been here for many years, they can remain detained and file an application for cancellation of removal, showing that they can get their green card even after they've been detained for 3-4 months. There are also other remedies, but I don't want to keep the microphone for too long. Apparently there are many other questions.
Thank you for that, Pierre. Because I have a question for Chief Bendy. It was stated if you see something, say something, or video, a picture, what happens if you happen to be arrested for such, which may be called interfering? That's for the chief.
Okay, so it is not illegal to record an arrest in New Jersey if you are a non-interfering bystander. So if you are not interfering, you will not be arrested, okay? New Jersey has the First Amendment right to record police actions and their official duties in public places. Now, when you record in public places, you have the right to do that and record the audio of the police officer performing their duties in public according to the directive from the New Jersey Office of the Attorney General. Now, you must not interfere, though. You cannot materially impede or interfere with an officer's ability to perform their duties or threaten their safety or the safety of others. At that point, you will be interfering with the police. If you are recording that materially impedes with the police or interferes with their duties or creates a safety threat, it can lead to legal consequences. So you need to be mindful of that.
That's a really great line, Chief Bendy. What you just said is so important. So you record, right? But you do not make contact with these officers. You do not, physically approach them. We need to take a lesson from the civil rights movement and Dr. King, what to do during those times, which really actually was birthed from the movement the nonviolent movement that Gandhi had, okay? So you wanna make sure your hands are visible, you can record, you do not assault, you do not raise your hand, you do not put your finger in the officers' faces, you do not approach in a physical way. If you do, you can get hit with a federal charge. And it's gonna take a lot of money to get you out of that, if you get out of it at all. So I thought that was just so important that you mentioned that you've been here. Thank you, because some people don't realize. They're saying, well, no, I'm standing up for an unlawful arrest. Okay, but now they're going to make the argument that your arrest was lawful. We had an announcement, and we just wanted to let you know that we are live on Radio Oliver, local radio from the Haitian community. Did I butcher that, person? Is it good? Okay, and shout out to the reporter who's here, Mr. Dumas. We appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Streaming all over the world. Look at us. Thank you, Mr. Dumas. There was a question that is, what is being done to change the fact? Now, this is a question that I'm reading. This is not my words. The fact that illegal immigrants are not citizens and thus not protected under state and federal law, the U.S. Constitution. The Constitution only governs citizens. I thought it was a really important question to answer because that's actually a misconception. It's actually not a fact. Okay, the U.S. Constitution does govern as well as protect persons. The word person, not citizen, meaning all individuals on U.S. soil are entitled to due process of law. Okay? The 14th Amendment. Okay, states cannot deny any person within their jurisdiction equal protections under the law. This protects immigrants from discriminatory laws and policies,
And there's even the rights in the Fourth, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments that also extend, which is that immigrants have the right to be free of unreasonable searches and seizures, the right to remain silent and avoid self-incrimination, and to have a lawyer at fair trial. And then we know that freedom of speech and religion also extends, which is in the First Amendment, regardless of anyone's immigration status. So that is a very common misconception that people believe that immigrants have no right when they're on this soil. That is absolutely not true, though. So we just have to make sure that we understand that states cannot deny any person within their jurisdiction equal protection under the law, okay? And discrimination and all these things also still does apply. Now, as mentioned, what's happening at the executive level is not following the guardrails of the Constitution, but as the Constitution is written, immigrants actually do have rights and do have laws. And we can even go a little bit deeper. Chief Bindi is fresh off the circuit as in having visited the UN yesterday. We could talk about international human rights too, and the things that could be governed under that, but I know we don't necessarily have time for that. Bergson? Councilman Bergson?
Can you hear me? So I would just like to add, East Orange, thank you for that question to whoever asked. At one time, 99% of this room would have been considered illegal. Let's be clear, the Fifth Amendment was created for African slaves and their descendants. The Fifth Amendment, and it was throughout, in terms of federal law, and we have an attorney here, he can correct me if I'm wrong. The 14th Amendment, which was some 100 years later, was created to expound upon the Fifth Amendment, which only protected federally, but it expounded upon it and included local and state government. It also created procedural, substantive process for due process as well. So we have to understand that this playbook and this rhetoric, we've seen it before. And when, I said this yesterday and I said it again, the great civil rights activist, warrior, and freedom fighter, Angela Davis said, if they come for me in the morning, they will come for you in the evening. We have to fight together. We cannot be divisive. We cannot be stay on the sidelines. We cannot bend the knee. We cannot capitulate to what is happening. This is not a Democrat or Republican issue. This is not a Black, Latino, white issue. This is a human right issue. This is a human right issue. These are our neighbors. These are business owners. These are children. These are students. These are our family members. These are our employees. These are captains and titans of industry. These are human beings that are being treated in a way that is unconstitutional and dehumanizing. And I say, we've all seen this before. They can try to wipe it out the history books, but we've all seen it before. We've seen slave patrols in our lifetime. Not in our lifetime, but our ancestors' lifetime. And what do you think is happening now? The Trump administration, yes, I said the name, the current administration, has proposed to remove 20 million humans that they're deemed illegals from this country. We also know that there's 10 to 12 million immigrants in this country. Where are the remaining bodies coming from? It's gonna be folks that look like you and I. That's what they're gonna come for next. This is a test run. They're banking on the fact that we are gonna stand silent. They're banking on the fact that we're gonna say we don't care. That's not my problem. They are banking on that fact. And so when it comes around for us, we're gonna look back and say, oh man, we should have done something earlier. And So that's why it's important, and thank you, Melody, for putting this together, that we unite and we rally around our community. That we rally around our community. New Jersey has the second largest foreign-born immigrant population in the country. In the country. The only state that has more foreign-born and immigrant population percentage is California. So we have more than New York, more than Boston, more than Texas, more than Florida. So if you think that this is not going to affect our people, you have another thing coming. It is going to affect our people. They haven't really pushed it here in New Jersey because there's an election going on for governor. But make it known, after November 4th, they will be rampant here. I promise you that. It will be rampant here in all of our areas. If we don't lock arms, if we don't, like Mr. Bogart said, our safe zones. If we don't identify our safe zones, if we don't strengthen our sanctuary policies, they will be coming for us. And I'll end the way I started. They'll come for me in the morning, they will come for you in the evening. Trust me when I say that. And thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Councilor. So with that, what can city leaders, faith leaders, and community members do together to ensure everyone understands their basic rights, since you talked about that earlier? That question could go to Councilwoman and Councilman. I see down there also Pastor, so go ahead.
Good day, everyone. So many truths that were shared here. What can we do? We're doing what we're doing now, partnering together, advocating. We can turn our houses of worship back into the vehicles, whether it was the civil rights movement, the end of chattel slavery, the abolition of slavery was done by church women and church men. Civil rights movement, we locked arms, people of all faiths, from not just in the United States, but all the way over to Europe, that helped to fund the civil rights movement and get it done. What can people of faith do? Take up your arms. Leviticus says, when a foreigner resides among you in your land, do not mistreat them. The foreigner residing amongst you must be treated as your native born. And so when we look at that on today, as we sit in this church, most people forget that Jesus himself went through, he was an immigrant. He went through the census, right? He was chased out twice, went to Egypt, right? And so when hallelujah, amen. All right, I'm sorry, let me come on back. It's too easy for me to go the other way. But let me say this on today. I want to speak to every faith leader, every preacher, pastor, minister, imam, rabbi. We must do the work of faith, and the work of faith is justice. It is justice. Justice is the work of faith. So again, we need to open our churches. But I do want to shine a spotlight because I often hear of mothers and fathers, their children being ripped from them. But there is another vulnerable population. And even as our attorney so brilliantly spoke earlier, he shared about even those who are here, if they have children, if they've lived clean. The two highest populations in the city of East Orange are senior citizens and adolescents. Two of our highest populations, two of our most vulnerable populations. In that, so many people have come over as immigrants. Many of them have attempted to have their paperwork done. If we're going to be honest on tonight, many of them were scammed in paperwork after they saved up the little that they had to even have it done, and they've just been existing, working. They've been, filing their taxes for working in the country. They've received the initial number, but they still don't have their citizenship. And now they're aging out of the workforce. They're now senior citizens that are here, and with this ICE and immigration crisis, are fighting now deportation as senior citizens. What happens with our most vulnerable population, now doubly vulnerable, senior citizens who are still awaiting immigrant status, people who have worked here for decades, yet have not been afforded, people who have been productive citizens and have not been afforded immigration. I don't want to turn this a whole other way, but there have been other programs that have opened up in our nation, that have ushered other folks in. And they have received all of the aid. Camps were built up for them. And meals were prepared to make them comfortable. But yet our vulnerable Black and brown people who are now aging out, where is their help in this crisis?
Thank you for that, Pastor. I just want to take this privilege to give honor to my Heavenly Father in His house, and to the shepherd of His house, Reverend Thursell. We talked about deportation, and how important it is. In 1990, Congress actually enacted the temporary protection status. Now, that is a status that individuals use so that they can actually regulate the deportation. I think that it's fair to say now, after Trump administration has targeted TPS with the intent to revoke TPS altogether, we will not have workers at that point, which a lot of immigrants make up a large portion of the workforce. However, if that is revoked, and we all know that it has been with the Venezuelan immigrants, and if that does happen, individuals will not get H-1 visas. They will be returned. They're threatening to do at least 600,000 in November. So all of these numbers are continuing to add up. And once that process is revoked, we will be in a position where a large portion of our workforce, believe it or not, will be gone. I think it's important to know that individuals that are watching this and who are a part of unions should really tap into the comfort and the resources that they have within their unions with respect to their status, their immigration status. I am a proud daughter of an immigrant. My mother came over here from France in 1960, and I was born in 1961. Yes, I just told y'all my age. However, I would only wonder what she would be going through today if she were here, in terms of, now if they want to send me back to France, that's okay too. But I think it's so important for individuals to tap back in again to their unions and other, places that they could go for shelter or guidance, for that matter, with respect to deportation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilwoman. There's another question that we have, and I wanted to know what the East Orange School District, if we are proactively reaching out to students who have stopped coming to school. So I guess it's for you, Devon.
That's a great question. So in any case, when our students are not attending school, we definitely will reach out and extend that, those types of questions to see why they're not attending, try to increase their attendance, try to work with the families. So that is part of our family engagement strategy. That is a process that we will always do. If students are not attending, we want to make sure we go through the access for them to get back into school. As I stated before, the primary focus is to make sure that they are enrolled, they are attending, and they understand that it's a safe place to live.
Can I just add to that too? I know, thank you, East Orange School District is, I'm sure, doing a great job. I think a lot of schools right now, they're able to run attendance reports, and through those attendance reports, we're able to really capture students who have been consistently absent. In the state of New Jersey, chronic absenteeism is something that we have to keep track of, and students cannot be absent more than 10% of the school, the number of days the school is open. So I know that our counselors, and especially in our district, we are constantly running those attendance reports, and part of it is to ensure that we don't see a consistent number of students that are out. And their responsibility is to reach out to those parents and to make sure that everything is okay, that if they need assistance or resources, that the school is there for them. And that was actually one of the ways we were able to find one of our families that actually ended up self-deporting, unfortunately, in June. They were sent a letter to attend an immigration review, and unfortunately, the parents did not want to attend that date. They did reach out to our office did connect to the Congresswoman Mikey Sherrill's office, and through her office, they were able to delay them from leaving. They were able to stay the rest of the school year because they received a letter around February or March. The students wanted to stay until the end of the school year, we were able to do that. So they stayed until June and then unfortunately self-deported.
There's another question?
This question is directed to Councilman Bertolinius. There has been a recent report that the CDL license of immigrants are they being taken? Are they being denied the application? Can you weigh in on that?
Yes, just briefly, thank you for that question. So recently, there was a mandate from the federal government that calls for immigrants or those with certain various immigration status that they are not able to renew their CDL licenses. That is going to cause a tremendous harm to that tremendous impact on the community because there are many of our, I think 20% of our drivers are immigrants. And so this is how they make their living, this is their careers for many of them. And we're going to see a stark decline in that population of truck drivers and or delivery drivers. And so what's that going to mean for us? They see delays on products that you can order. You're ordering through Amazon, about those different things, all those delivery services. And there's going to be less drivers on the road in the next 2 years. And it's going to tremendously impact the way we receive goods, the way we expect our goods to be sent to us, and people are going to suffer. And so when we talk about some of the hardships that a lot of our immigrant population is facing, it's not only just fear, it's not only just mental health, it's financial instability. Financial instability is real. You can think about ourselves, you know, when we're paycheck, not knowing where the next bill is coming from, they are going to completely lose their livelihood. And so it's something that is going to have tremendous impact. It's something that we have to fight legally, but it is coming.
Thank you so much for, Mayor, do we have any other questions on your end?
Yeah, we have one. I think this is for Chief Bendy or you, to mention why the Ukrainians and the Afghanistani immigrants are not facing the danger that Africans, Spanish, and others non-white. Is it because the blacks and browns are not coming together enough?
So I think that's a very good question. If anybody else on the panel doesn't want to take a shot at it, I'd like to remind everyone here that the Achilles heel of this great country we call America, who has this great experiment that we call democracy, which, by the way, unfortunately, democracy is on the downtrend globally right now. That is a fact. The Achilles heel to America is racism. This country was stumbled upon by Christopher Columbus and conquered by Europeans, and the land rights were taken away from Native Americans who did not even have the opportunity to actually sell their land to make profit or generational wealth. So, and you can see this in some of the Supreme Court decisions, and Justice Madison, who has argued why he thought that that was okay, because that's what happens in conquest and conquering, that the parties who are native who lose also their rights. So right from the beginning of the foundation of this country, there was theft and racism and genocide of people who were brown. So this is the reason why when we talk about this rise of white supremacy, but it's not really a rise, it's always been here, okay? This is what's been hovering in the atmosphere here in America is white supremacy and its thoughts. And part of the reason why they do not want this history taught in schools, and also why there's people running around our country telling young people that they should not get a college education, because when you get an education, you learn those things in which I just stated. I read that in a book in a college course. And I'm not a college snob and not saying that college is for everyone and that everyone should go. But what I'm not gonna do is say that no one should go and follow this movement where people are trying to make our young people believe that if you go, you turn into a liberal. No, if you go, you get educated and you understand history and what was the foundation of our country. Furthermore, after the Native Americans and the population began to diminish because of the genocide that was created based off of whether or not it was war or smallpox or these things, you had the transatlantic slave trade, where they went to Africa, collaborated as world leaders to create a slave trade, went to Africa, stole our black bodies, and brought them here. Through that, we have been experiencing as black peoples, as descendants of Africa, the racist impact of that for a long time. We are still in economic distress behind it, yet the country has thrived globally, economically, based off of the crops that we were producing. In 1860, the wealth of that black bodies created, slavery, was more than the railroad system, the banks, and all of these things combined, okay? It was the value of our black bodies that they sold and bred as cattle. So this, again, is true history. It's disgraceful history, but it is true history. And we ought to teach our children this history because we would be doomed to repeat it if we don't. But then you have racism and other bigotry that exists to people who may even be of lighter pigmentation sometimes too. And we've seen that with other world powers. And that right there is about power and control. We see that happen with the Third Reich over in Germany, and it created World War II and the attempted genocide of the Jewish people, right? And we're seeing remnants of that creeping into what was formerly known as our democracy, but what currently exists is really not what democracy is supposed to be. So there is racist elements to this. And if you feel as though, well, how come not this group, but why that group? You or I will not gaslight you. You are correct in asking that and in seeing that, because the truth of the matter is that has been the foundation of this country since its absolute inception into European hands. So, you know, I'm very concerned right now regarding white supremacy and the messaging. I think Pastor hit the nail on the head, as she always does. There's also, we have to be careful. I'm a Christian, I love the Lord, okay? And I used to teach Bible, and I have a minor in religious studies, so I gotta just let you know I'm qualified to be saying what I'm saying, okay? What we are watching now with Christian evangelicals, that is not Christianity. That is not Bible. It is not Bible to take people off the streets. It is not Bible to mistreat immigrants. It is not Bible to discriminate against other people from other countries. Jesus spoke to the Samaritan woman, okay? And was also a refugee, and as you mentioned, sought refuge in Egypt, and for the people in the back, that's Africa. So there are amazing, you know, roots in the scriptures if people would actually read their Bible for themselves. I was disgusted by the language that was being used. Oh, this is going to be a Christian awakening. We must be careful as Christians not to fall into that, because all of those atrocities that I just went through, guess what was being used as an excuse to do it? Christian extremism. God wants us to do it. We are the supreme being. These are the
the barbaric people. That was the way in which the language was being used. It is the perversion and the extremism of biblical text, okay? Now you can also look at any text that is religious, and you can see where they have used it for extremist reasons as well. It is about power, it is about position, and it is not of God. Thank you for coming.
Let me just respond to the mayor's question,
Thank you.
really quick. This year alone, the Trump administration has taken steps to eliminate the program which is the TPS program, for actually 8 nations. Afghanistan, Cameroon, Haiti, Honduras, Nepal, Nicaragua, Syria, and Venezuela. So he is in the process now, of trying to eliminate that TPS program. In addition, there are civil rights groups who have filed 6 lawsuits across the country to try and preserve TPS for people from those countries. And plaintiffs from Haiti, they did win relief, actually, in a court. A judge ruled against revoking the TPS and extended Haiti's TPS, I believe it was until 26th of February. Yeah, right. So that is a little wiggle room, and it is success, we'll take it, right? So thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilman Lenz, you want to elaborate on that?
No, I think my colleague said it all, and was very detailed and.
Do we have any other questions from the audience? Marcus? I hear you. Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead, Attorney. Let's speak up, man, it's getting late, let's go.
TPS is the acronym for Temporary Protected Status. Under Section 44 of the Immigration and Nationality Act, TPS was promulgated in order to protect people when their country of origin goes through civil war, catastrophe due to earthquake, and do some other situations. And usually TPS is granted for 18 months, and it is given by the Department of Homeland Security as part of the executive branch of government. They have the power of renewing it. As someone from the panel just said, this administration is trying to take TPS from many countries. For instance, people from El Salvador, Honduras, who came in the United States around 1999, 2000, have been given TPS because they were struck by the difficult situation by hurricanes. Haiti, the earthquake of January 2010. Generally, in order to take off TPS under the law, you have to show there is progress from the situation that made you grant TPS the first time. In Haiti, things have gotten worse, but yet again, Christy Norton of the Department of Homeland Security said before a judge, basically, to not say the word, she didn't tell the truth, saying that Haiti has made a lot of progress. But fortunately, a federal judge in New York stopped the government of cutting off TPS for Haitians that were to be ended, that were to end on February 3, 2026. The judge stopped the government from stopping that, but unfortunately, as we know, when we get to February 3, 2026, the government, it's clear, although Haiti's situation has worsened with the gangs controlling a lot of territory, especially in the West Department of Haiti, nothing has changed. TPS, under normal circumstances, would have had to continue, but it's under the control of the executive branch of government. But the government was basically was doing something unlawful, trying to cut off TPS for Haitians making it end on September 2nd, 2026. Fortunately, a federal judge said that you cannot do that. You will have to wait until February 2026.
And I guess we're gonna, we don't see any more questions. I know that Brother Lamar, you do have your question. Councilwoman Lewis said that she would also, address it at the council meeting, but Councilwoman Lewis?
Yes, Brother Lamar, we are very familiar with your request, as we have told you, at the city council meetings. This is something we will discuss in committee, and, we will consider the amendment of this particular legislation that was already actually signed off on in 2020.
And we do recognize, and believe that we should be celebrating the, ratification and additions to the Freedom Amendments. Thank you, Brother Lamar.
Okay, so, this was a great conversation tonight, and those who are watching us, we thank everyone, for joining us and knowing your rights. What I want to do is just go down the line. I want to start with our pastor who gracefully opened up her doors. I want to thank Mel also for putting this together. You know, look, there may not have been a lot of people that came out tonight, but there's quite a few people that are watching, you know, and hoping that the information that has been provided tonight and the conversation that somehow we allow people to know that we are fighting for them. On our state delegation, down to the local government, down to our school district, down to our faith-based organizations here in the community, along with administration and the council. I think that as we continue to have these conversations, to at least bring some easement to folks who have contributed not only to the city, but not only to the county and the state, but to this world. And making sure they know that on this side of the aisle, that we're fighting and we can't stop fighting. And as you heard our councilman said earlier, that we cannot give up on this fight. And it's a tough fight, because every day there's something different with that guy down in Washington. You know, we started to see how he is bringing troops into different cities. And again, this election, as we all stated earlier, is so critical. Those who are watching, if you don't know, you have to get out there and vote. If you haven't voted early, voting yet, get out there and vote, because as we stated earlier, that they are coming for New Jersey. And right now, you know, there's an election, and I have to say this, we are supporting Mikey Sherrill. And she is going to be our firewall to fight for what's right, to be for humanity. And we cannot come up short, because we come up short, just as well, they are putting military folks in different other cities. They will be in New Jersey, they will be in East Orange, they will be in Irvington, they will be in Orange. So this is the time that we are really pleading, and we've been saying that most elections are critical, but this is a critical election. So those who are out there, again, get out and vote on November 4th. It is important and critical. So again, I'm going to go down to the panel and give everybody an opportunity, starting with our pastor who allowed us again in her home. Pastor, take it away.
Thank you so much. Mayor, I just had one disagreement. I want to say that this is, when I was in corporate America, we would call this a train the trainer. So I see this room full. I see this room, I see our various community leaders that are here. I see other faith leaders that are in this room. And so I know that we are in Haiti, amen. I don't know whose camera this is here, but I know that we are on, amen, across the nation and even internationally. So to all of you who are watching, I would say two things and then I'm done. My 7th grade teacher is here today. The beautiful Miss Margaret Key. And I want to tell you, you never know the indelible mark that you leave upon a young person. I said this yesterday when we spoke in the mayor's office. This war that we are fighting is not just for the adults. I want to encourage the children, those who can do early voting, to do the work of advocacy. Ms. Key taught me this in the 7th grade, and I leave this with you as a moment of empowerment tonight. The first thing I want to leave you with is God has not promised. The sky is always blue, and flowers strewn pathways all our lives through. God has not promised sun without rain, joy without sorrow, peace without pain. But God has promised strength for the day, rest for the labor, light for the way, grace for the trials, help from above, unfailing sympathy, and undying love. I am assured on tonight that the God of Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, the God of Hagar and Ishmael, the God that was raised from the dead on the 3rd day in the person of Jesus Christ, is able, well able, to give us what we need to do this work. God bless you.
I feel like that was the benediction. None of us need to say anything else after that. But I just wanted to say that, again, upon arriving, as Pastor stated, to me, this room is full. It's more full than what I thought it would be. I do know through having many friends who are organizing in this space that people who need the information are going to watch on live stream. They're not going to come in person just because they may be afraid that a raid would occur here. So, I just want to thank Melody Scott for her vision in doing this. Yeah, Melody, can stand up and take a bow. And I wanted to just remind people of different resources that are out there, of where you can start with to reach out to, and that is the ACLU, that's American Civil Liberties, and their website is www.aclu.org. There's Make the Road New Jersey, who's been all these organizations have been very good partners with legislation over the years that we've done, and their website is maketheroadnj.org. It sounds like an interesting Make the Road. It's because when they first got their start, we did driver's license for immigrants. And they were birthed out of that advocacy space. Immigrant Legal Resource Center, their website is ilrc.org, and National Immigrant Justice Center. And their website is immigrantjustice.org. So please, 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 reach out to these different resources. We have one more announcement.
Yes, we want to remind, let you all know, she could not be here today because she is on Capitol Hill fighting, but there is representation here from Congresswoman LaMonica McIver's office. And so if you are filing any petitions or paperwork on behalf of immigration, Congresswoman LaMonica McIver's office is right outside of our door tonight. God bless you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'd like to encourage the lady viewers, both citizens, to try to help the immigrant population. And right now, as we speak, even those naturalized citizens like myself, as an attorney, I'm not protected. I've known of situations of attorneys who filed claims against the government that get harassed when they travel abroad and they're coming back to the United States. They stop them for 3-4 hours, and then before they let them go. Even a situation where they told them at the end why they were being investigated, and it's difficult. There are laws that make it the process not as much when you are at the airport asking to come to the United States. Moi, connais quand il a ici capoté, I'm saying a few words in Haitian Creole. Quand il a ici capoté, situation difficile, mais cependant pour TPS, quand il a ici capé dans l'X Orange, pour TPS, nous remercions mon Dieu que gon juge fédéral de New York qui campait décision que le gouvernement a pris pour le camp TPS le 2 septembre. Et puis, on est là, nous avons TPS là jusqu'à 3 février 2026. On encourage le monde qui vient dans le programme Biden, si il y a une situation que il y a un logement pour une résidence, si il y a un marié avec eux, un qui remet qui remet si il y a un pas capable de résidence, puisque il y a une légal, même là que le gouvernement a pour poser problème, mais cependant le gouvernement a mis en pause sous cas ça, on demande qu'on y a là, on va continuer. Ça veut dire que j'ai créé un avocat pour comprendre qui ça a fait, parce que quand il y a des gens qui jouent un rendez-vous, il y a dans ça, credible fear hearing, et puis tout arrêter. Faites attention si nous recevons papier ça, pour nous, avant que nous présenter, pour nous parler avec un avocat. Parce que c'est capable de bagaille. Para la gente que habla español, yo quería decir a ustedes, aunque ustedes no están aquí para escuchar a nosotros, es que es un periodo muy difícil para nosotros, inmigrantes. Yo sé, hay muchos de ustedes que reciben un aviso para presentarse a la inmigración por un temor creíble. No es bueno para presentarse antes de hablar con un oficial de inmigración. Mucha gente han sido arrestados solo para presentarse en la oficina de asilo. Hay otros también que deben que reportar a la ICE y ellos están arrestados también. Ustedes deben que saber lo que usted debe que hacer. Yo sé que nosotros abogados no podemos decir a uno de no presentarse. Entonces, hay formas de ayudar a usted para saber cuál es la mejor decisión para hacer. Hay cosas que yo puedo decir a este micrófono. Todo lo que yo quería decir, ustedes deben que hablar con un asistente legal o un abogado antes de presentarse a la ICE o antes de presentarse a la oficina de asilo por un temor creíble. Gracias.
Thank you. Assembly Woman.
Man, he took my Spanish. He did a great job. Good job. No, and I'm just going to say a couple of things that we mentioned this evening in Spanish. En Nueva Jersey, todas las familias tienen derechos, sin importar su estatus migratorio. Sus hijos tienen derecho a una educación pública gratis. Ustedes tienen derecho a un salario justo y trabajar sin ser explotados. Nadie puede discriminarlos por su idioma o país de origen. Y si un oficial de inmigración llega a tu casa, tienen derecho a guardar silencio y no abrir la puerta sin un orden firmado por un juez. El estado de Nueva Jersey también ofrece apoyo para nuestras familias inmigrantes, como licencia de conducir, asistencia legal gratuito o de bajo costo y protección contra abusos laborales y de vivienda. Quiero que sepan que no están solos. Mi oficina está aquí para ayudarlos, escucharles y conectarlos con recursos confiables. Ustedes son parte esencial de nuestra comunidad, trabajan, crían a sus hijos y contribuyen a la fuerza y diversidad de este estado. Yo quiero darles mi número de teléfono en mi oficina si necesitan ayuda o si quieren recursos. La oficina, el número de mi oficina es 973-450-0484. Again, in English, my office is here to help and assist anyone who needs resources. My number is 973-450-0484.
Thank you, Assembly Woman. Councilman.
Thank you so much, Mayor. East Orange, I love my city. And I know you love my city as well, otherwise you would not be here, or would not be watching. And one thing I know about folks from East Orange is that we have this indelible spirit in which we will not quit. We will continue to fight. I know everything that's going on from the news and the reports and the sound bites seems insurmountable. I know it seems like all hope is lost. We can't see our way through the forest. But I'm reminded, and I will remind you of a great African proverb that states, together, ants can defeat the elephant. And it is a call, it is a rallying call, it is a clarion call, as Reverend Jones always has, a clarion call of hope, strength, resilience, and power. And that's what East Orange represents. And I hope that the information today will be utilized. We just continue to pray, continue to organize, continue to work. But most importantly, in this moment, especially within the next few weeks or 30 days, 25 days, excuse me, we must vote. We must vote our interests. We must vote in blocks, groups. We must vote together to ensure that our mutual interests are garner victory on November 4th. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. Councilwoman Lewis.
Thank you, Mayor. To the residents of the First Ward, on behalf of myself and my colleague, Mr. James, we extend our services to you as well. Both our numbers are listed on the website. Please feel free to reach out to us should you have any questions for yourself or your family. We are here for you. I look at everyone in this city as my brother and sister. Doesn't matter what country you're from. We are all one. Godspeed with all of you. Stay encouraged, and most importantly, stay prayed up. Thank you, Mayor. Oh, sorry. Thank you, Steve.
Thank you, Councilwoman. Juan, Smith.
On behalf of the East Orange School District, I think this is a great time to share information and work together and continue our values of partnership. Continue to share the fact that your families are valued, rights are valued. What you contribute matters. We want to continue pouring into that. We want to continue to boss some things we talked about today, our commitment to families, our commitment to ensuring the rights to free education of our children is continue to provide access, continue our partnerships at the school district to be sure that we provide free legal clinics, we provide citizenship guidance, college access pathways. We're going to continue as a school district to champion those rights and make sure those safe zones, saying it is a buzzword, I'm going to keep saying it, those safe zones are safe and they're stable there for our children to grow and for our families to be protected. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief Mindy.
Again, Pastor Williams, thank you for always opening your doors for us. You are an intricate part of all of what we do in the East Orange Police Department, and I thank you very much. And of course, Mayor, for having these forums, and Melody, thank you, Melody Scott, for inviting me and having me here. And we want everyone to know in the city of East Orange, this police department, as demanded by the mayor, and of course is our oath, and we have a duty and a right to do this. Every person who lives here, we value you, and you do have rights regardless of your citizenship or immigration status. As Senator Timberlake pointed out, that was an excellent question that was asked, because a lot of people do not believe that, but it is true, you do, and we will see to it that your rights are upheld, and that you know what to do if and when you are encountered. I just will add one more thing, please do not be scared or timid to come into the police department at any time. Of course, it is open, the doors are open 24/7. I'm sure my number is posted up somewhere, but most of everyone has it. And I will say this, please do not be scared to come into the police department if you are a victim of a crime, okay? Because it needs to be addressed. We value you, we value your life and the life of your families. We want you to be comfortable here, live, grow, and prosper here. And thank you very much.
Thank you to everyone. Thank you to everyone for coming out. Thank you for our radio station that joined us and those on social media. If I can leave us with anything, God is powerful. And not no man, not no woman is more powerful than God. Even though we go through difficulty times, it does says in scripture that with every difficulty come ease. So this is the greatest time in our lives to not only get closer to God, get closer to your family, get closer to your community, and let's pull together as one. We have this charge in the city of East Orange that we're one city, one community. And tonight shows that from us coming together, making sure that we as a team allow individuals in our community, outside the community, to know that we fight for their rights. May God bless all of you.
Comment nous est? On a posé quelques questions.
Oh, tell me, point photo.
Okay, yeah. Okay, merci.
Listen, everybody, we had a great event tonight. You know, it was a lot of information. Nous avons un peu d'information. So, je suis content de tout le monde, you know. Moi, je suis Beckson Lenis, I'm councilman là in East Orange, represent 3rd Ward. So, you know, to the entire community, thank you for attending, thank you for watching, thank you for being here. My office, I can be reached at 973-266-5120. 973-266-5120 here in the city of East Orange. For any questions, concerns that you may have, si vous besoin parler avec moi, Caroline, sur téléphone là, 973 266-5110. So again, really Beckson Lenis, councilman de East Orange, et puis content de nous tous, et puis merci un peu.
Merci un peu. Oui. Et je supporte ça là, oui, Josie Payot, qui est notre
Oh, yeah, of course.
Vous supportez ça avec lui.
Pas marcher avec lui?
Yeah.
Okay.
Bagage joie.
Oh, man, merci un peu, merci. Belle bagaille.
Ok, merci. On parle. Oui. Au revoir. Donc, mes amis, c'est event là. C'est event là qui te gagne, côté que vous te parlé de ensemble d'activités. De ensemble d'activités qui te gagne. Et surtout pour nous-mêmes qui dans la communauté haïtienne qui besoin en pile d'informations. Et nous connaissons un pile monde qui l'église là ou bien qui dans la radio capitale qui pas capable de déplacer. Donc nous gagnons un concile maintenant qui ensemble avec nous, nous gagnons
un avocat extraordinaire Pierre Eloi.
Pierre Eloi qui est ensemble avec tout le monde en pile. information. Mes amis, situation difficile, vraiment difficile, mais nous gagnons qui ensemble.
Comment nous y est là?
Nous en forme, nous gagnons avocat Pierre Éloi qui est ensemble avec nous. Nous tous connaissons dans la communauté. Nous dans la radio Olivier qui est maintenant Orange, Noak. Donc, il faut parler ensemble avec la communauté, rassurer, bah, nos téléphones, nous pour capable de relayer ou sur vos activités qui été faites et comment pour comporter autour et si vous avez rencontré avec Aïs.
Ok, merci pour le fait que vous permettez de parler avec la communauté. C'est clair que nous ne pouvons pas dire trop de bagailles à cause de temps, mais cependant, chaque chose qu'on a là, nous connaissons un pile haïtien qui vient, qui c'est ça le paroli, moun qui vient dans le programme Biden yo. Fais attention pour ne pas avoir un problème avec l'immigration parce que moun sa yo, tout le monde qui vient, même les gens qui viennent dans CBP1 yo, les gens qui viennent dans le programme Biden yo, si vous arrêtez un monde comme ça, vous pas éligible pour sortir sous caution. Ça veut dire que vous pas payer belle pour sortir. Mais moun sa tout un avantage tout, le fait que yo la guerre avec un I-94 ou un I-94, yo vient tant qu'on monde qui vient à visa sans venir à visa. Si moun sa yo gagne moyen pour une résidence par l'intermédiaire d'un mariage ou bien si vous avez un parent qui te file pour eux pendant des années, ça permet de capable d'ajuster aux États-Unis, surtout que si vous ne tomber dans l'illégalité. Parce que si vous payez pour un nombre de temps, généralement, si pendant le temps, les pays là beaucoup fini, ça permet de capable continuer avec résidence. Pour mon TPS, nous connaissons que un juge New York, un juge fédéral qui était bloqué, le gouvernement qui était besoin de faire camper PO jusqu'à 2 septembre. Ça, il a extendu jusqu'à 3 septembre, jusqu'à 3 février 2026.
Oui.
Merci, peut-être on a l'autre occasion de parler plus.
Oui. Ok, so kounya là, il va prendre une photo ensemble, une photo de groupe. Et je pense que nous-mêmes pour une photo de groupe. Ok, so ça c'est photo. Donc, et pendant mon sorti, nous allons poser quelques questions. Par contre, qui l'autre monde qui donc, ça qui est extrêmement important. Donc, nous, les magistrats, et ensemble avec nous, les conseillers, différents autres conseillers qui, même là, ça va venir répondre à quelques questions et pour nous-mêmes. Donc, il y a tout, il y a l'activité. Donc, rappelez, là, c'est dans l'église là, et dans l'église là, l'église recevoir tout le monde, vous comprenez, et c'est tout le monde qui gagne ensemble et le problème. On va regarder qui est-ce qui est capable de répondre à quelques questions et pour nous-mêmes. On va répondre à quelques questions. Et pour nous-mêmes, nous allons parler avec Brittany Kimberley qui va parler ensemble avec nous. Nous allons poser quelques questions sur comment lui-même garder shutdown gouvernement. Merci et tout, qui ça lui-même a fait dans la communauté pour qu'il soit capable d'aider les gens sortir dans une situation difficile et que vous gagnez. Donc, activité à connaître. Comme si vous n'avez pas grand peu le monde, mais ça a dit, c'est électeur d'officiaux, c'est magistrat qui était là, le chef police qui était là, nous avons avocat qui était là, nous avons tout et pasteur de l'église qui était là. Donc, tu as grand peu l'électeur d'officiaux qui était venu répondre aux questions communautaires. Ok, je vais mal pour mal. Il y a des gens parce que ils ne pas venir eux-mêmes. Donc, ça qui est important. Donc, Pierre Éloi. Donc, nous au téléphone encore pour nous pas bérer aussi, on a n'importe quelle question.
Oui, si on a une question, nous avons joindre moi dans le cabinet dans 973 675 2101 973 675 2101. Donc, on a des grandes complications qu'on y a, par exemple, sur tout ce qu'a fait qu'on y a là, le fait que c'est des décisions judiciaires qui vraiment permettent qu'on y a là, des décisions qui sont en septembre, non. qui permettent seulement moun qui viennent à visa, si yo arrêté yo ka sorti sous caution. Ça veut dire que faut moun faire un pile attention. Par exemple, c'est comme si dernière décision ça li boucher tout le monde net, sauf moun qui vient à visa pour moun nan kamande belle. C'est clair que on moun qui doit essayer de continuer pour gagner résidence, mais cependant, faut pas qu'il tombe dans aucune situation côté que si appréhendé. Si l'immigration appréhendé, ils mettent dans un centre de détention, ou si vous pas venir avec visa, impossible pour le moment pour qu'il sortir sous caution. Parce que généralement, dans le passé, si mon a montré que il y a un attachement à la communauté, il là pendant plusieurs années, on a tenu en considération pour le sortir sous caution. Ça, on est bon en matière d'immigration, belle, mais qu'on n'y a pas de ça. Imaginons que si mon est en détention, on est obligé de rester en détention jusqu'à ce que demande la fête là, si on juge à Baline, si ça prend 4 mois, si ça prend 5 mois, l'obligé de rester en détention. Même les gens qui ont rendez-vous pour aller, je ne vais pas parler dans l'immigration, dans l'USCIS, mais les gens qui ont rendez-vous pour aller dans le bureau asile, là, il faut faire attention, il faut demander des conseils avant. Les gens qui ont pour présenter par devant la police immigration ICE, il faut prendre conseil avant pour connaître qui possibilité que sous présentant pour retourner. Et puis tout, qui possibilité tout, si que ou tu as une difficulté ou pas qu'à aller, qui soit perdu. En pile fois, ça dépend des situations. Dans le tribunal, il faut aller dans le tribunal. Parce que dans le tribunal, si tu ne pas présenter, on a un ordre d'expulsion. Donc, pas qu'à dire que pas présenter pour aller dans le bureau d'asile, on pas qu'à dire pour pas présenter dans ICE, mais cependant, parler avec un monde qui connaît avant qu'on fasse ça, parce que si aucun beau possibilité pour sortir, pour payer un compte pour sortir presque zéro. Et puis soit font application pendant que on centre de détention, ça prend environ 4-5 mois. Et puis si vous perdez tout, après tout le temps de ça, au cas déporté. Ça veut dire que dans une situation spéciale, il faut faire très attention avant que ou à l'un côté ça. On ne va pas parler que si on a un rendez-vous à l'immigration USCIS, non, ça va pas de problème. Si on a un rendez-vous dans le tribunal, tout, pas de problème. Bien que tu aies longtemps, tu as arrêté mon tribunal, tu as détenu mon sur le tribunal, mais généralement, dans l'État de New Jersey, ça n'a pas fait pour le moment. Mais cependant, rendez-vous dans ICE, rendez-vous dans l'immigration USCIS, faites très attention avec ça. Merci en pile. Encore numéro, bureau, c'est dans Orange, 32 North Day Street, Orange, New Jersey, 07050. Téléphone 973 675 2101. Merci un peu à tout le monde.
Ok. Donc, nous connaissons avocat Pierre-Éloi qui est en face. Et Pierre-Éloi qui est en face. Mairie Orange, qui est en face Mairie Orange, qui tout connaît avec clinique docteur Desrivières.
Docteur Desrivières, on a premier étage, on a deuxième étage.
On a deuxième étage. All right.
Merci pour le temps.
Merci un peu. Il connaît Pierre-Éloi toujours, Manu, et un pile et support. So right now we have concealed woman Morales. She's gonna talk to our Spanish audience.
Hola mi gente, yo soy la señorita Carmen Morales. Estoy aquí para toda la familia que necesita ayuda. Si quieren llamar a mi oficina, le voy a dar el número mío para que llame a mi oficina. Si necesita ayuda en cualquier cosa, te puedo conectar con gente que le pueden ayudar sobre cualquier cosa. El número de mi oficina es 973-450-0484. Estamos aquí para toda la familia en el estado de New Jersey. Gracias.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for your support for the community. And we have a lot of Haitians from Central America, Brazil, Nicaragua, a lot of people that came from the Darien River. Okay. So they speak a lot of Spanish from Chile, Venezuela. So thank you so much.
We're here for everyone.
Yes, all right, thank you so much. Dominican Republic, exactly. Yes, thank you. Donc, et n'a dit concile maintenant. Merci en pile, merci pour support, c'est haïtien par nous et frère par nous. Donc, toujours, contactez-lui, et lui là, il campé pour nous. T'as à nous sur les gens qu'il a parlé. Donc, il parle ensemble avec lui. Et ces petites communautés, nous remettons en pile et nous connaissons la bataille pour nous. Donc, merci en pile, à la prochaine.
Ok, merci.
Ok,
on
merci.
parler, ok? On te voit.
Ok, bye bye. Yeah. Ok. nous pral fermer. On dit tout le monde qui était à la live, tout le monde qui était là, qui allait, et peut-être tout le monde qui a tourné tout. Merci en pile. Et nous devons dire, et pasteur, merci. Hi, can I have two words with you? One question? Yes.
Oh, God. Is this still on in Haiti?
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
I wish I knew more.
Creole.
Sac Passe, J. Mapel. I remember that. J. Mapel, Reverend Thursell Williams.
Yes,
There we
thank-
go.
And
Yes.
thank you for your prayer, and thank
Thank
you for the
you.
word. And you said Jesus was an immigrant,
Yes.
and especially right now for the Christian community, for the white nationalists, they say they are Christian, and then they try to push out black people, and then they said, so if you come from outside of the United States, you are not really Christian, and then they try to put some voodoo, they try to
Lord
put other
have mercy.
religion on them, and this is what they use to attack the other community. So thank you for your prayer, thank you for your remarks,
Absolutely.
and to remind everybody that Jesus was an immigrant.
Absolutely.
And we need to talk like that to make sure other people in the community understand this is not Jesus' work. What the white nationalists
No,
doing,
it's not.
this is
No,
not Jesus'
that, no,
work.
that Christian nationalism, that is not the work of justice. It is not the work of Jesus. But I will tell y'all this, so y'all will know what kind of pastor I am. Okay, the work of Toussaint El Overture
Yes.
is the work of Jesus Christ.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yeah.
that is the work of Jesus Christ.
Yes.
1804, right?
Yeah.
Independence. The work of justice is the work of Jesus Christ.
Exactly. Because Jesus come to free everybody. Okay,
Yes.
so thank you so much.
Thank
and
you. God
for
bless you.
your
If you ever come to New Jersey, we have a big Haitian population here.
Yes,
Come
yes,
on
you
over.
do.
God bless you.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your prayer.
You're
again.
welcome.
All
Thank
right,
you.
bye. And lastly, we have the police chief. The police chief. I don't know if you can get a word from her, but I think on our way out, we gonna have to do that. So, I'm gonna appeal à Saint Rémy l'église. I'm gonna a lot they love the church. They love the church. All right, thank you so much. Really, man. All right, thank you. All right, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for us. Thank you. All right. So, Nuti, we just say hi to the police chief, and we're gonna talk to her, Alex, because we need to leave right now. All right. Thank you, guys. See you next time.